Hi, I'm Mickey Mankus, and welcome to Out the Back Door. I've got farm fresh eggs, and you know what I'm thinking? Pickled eggs. That really sounds good right now. So that's what I'm going to be making, and I'm going to make them shelf stable. So join me. I've got my dozen eggs in the hot water right now. I set the timer for like 10 minutes and I've got just a slow boil going on in there, and as soon as they're done, I'm going to dump the hot water out and I'm going to put cold water in there and dump it out and change out the water so it's cold a couple of times to cool down the cooking of the eggs. And that's going to make it easier for me to handle when I'm trying to peel them also. All right, I ran cold water on these to cool them down, and I'm going to peel them. I have found that if you let your eggs sit for probably about 2 weeks before trying to hard cook them, they peel easier. If any of you have a surefire way of peeling eggs without destroying them, oh, I'd love to hear about it, because I've tried a lot of different ways. I've used some of my water glassed eggs for hard cooking before, and those were even worse at peeling. It's almost like they preserved so well. They were like fresh eggs as far as the membrane inside of here that's against the egg and the shell in between. And I don't know, I decided hard-cooked eggs aren't meant for the water glassed ones. So some of you may decide, I don't know that I like pickled eggs, or you've never had them. I'm going to be making a spicy pickled egg this time. Now I am going to water bath these for about 15 minutes. I'm going to put them in pint jars because Mr. Mankus doesn't care for hard-cooked eggs, and I do. And so this is kind of a treat for me. And so I'm just going to put them in pint-sized jars, wide mouth, because it's easier to cram more in there. This is a really high protein snack. You could also use these if you want to spice up potato salad, egg salad. Just slice them and put them in like a lettuce salad. I have actually done fermented hard-cooked eggs before, and people recommend putting those and storing them in the refrigerator once they're done fermenting. We're going to have to leave them sit once they're canned for like 2 weeks so all the flavors melt together nicely, but it'll be well worth it. And we'll get the brine going. I'm going to warm up my jars. Okay, I've got all my ingredients out that I'm going to need. We're going to start with water and vinegar, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, I'm thinking I'll probably be able to get the eggs in 2 of the pint jars, because I did have 3 of them that they peeled down. The whites came off of the yolk, and I'm going to use those for sandwiches. So I'm just eyeballing the amount. I'm probably doing an overkill of making the brine, but I'd rather have it a little bit extra than running short in the middle of doing this. So right now I'm going to do 1.5 cups of water. And then I'm going to be doing white vinegar. I'm going to dump about a cup of this in. And I'm going to mix a little bit. I'm going to use some of my apple cider vinegar that I've done to finish it off, to bring it up. So I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of that in. All right. And I'm going to dump that in with the water. And also I'm going to be adding salt. I'm using sea salt to this. You want to use approximately 1/2 teaspoon per pint, or a teaspoon per quart if you're doing that. And being I am going to be doing I'll make for 3. So 1, 2, 3. Like I said, I'm probably going to have extra brine. Next thing we're going to put in the brine is sugar. And I know I said I really don't like sweet stuff, but I'm putting a small amount. For the amount of brine that I'm making, I'm only going to add like a tablespoon because I do prefer more of the dill spicy flavoring in here. Okay, now that I've got that going, I'm going to get this on the heat so it starts dissolving and getting hot, and I'm going to show you how I pack my jars. All right, while my brine is heating up and the sugar and salt is dissolving in there, and I've got a kettle of water in the back there warming up also for my water bath, and I'll show you a picture here of, I don't have a tray that fits inside of this kettle into this stock pot. So I did a makeshift one. And if you need to do the same thing, if you don't have a metal tray or a rack to put in the bottom of your canner, you can do the same method using canning rings. It's nice that I can go down into my pantry and grab my onions from the garden. I actually like a lot of onions, so I'm gonna probably put the entire onion in there, and I'm just gonna slice it up. You can put like jalapenos in here if you want, and as I mentioned earlier, I've done beets in here so that it gives it a pretty color too if you want to put chunks of raw beet in it. Garlic, just to add some extra flavors to it. Okay, I'm going to leave enough out for a third one. If I don't need to do the third jar, I'm going to use the onion in my egg salad, so that's cool. I'm just going to drop this in here a little bit. I'll do that in both. Oh, as I mentioned before in my video of how to harvest and cure onions, I don't know what it is. My homegrowns are really, really strong. Make me cry. Okay. Also, what I'm going to be adding into the bottom here is my spicy pickling seasoning spices. I do have one that's a sweet pickling spice. So you can see there's a pepper in that one. I'm going to drop that down in there. I really don't care for the sweet one very much. I prefer hot and spicy. Any more? I was looking for another pepper. Nope, guess not. And I'm just going to set that aside in case I'm able to use the third jar, but right now I don't think I'm going to. So what I'm going to do is I've got my onion in and my pickling spice, and I'm just going to drop my eggs down in there. I can tell right now I'm not going to need that extra jar. Okay, and I'm going to shove some more onion in here. And if you're using like jalapeno pepper or any beets or anything, you're going to be layering it. All right. That last egg looks pretty beat up, so I'm going to use that in my sandwich stuff. All right, so I'm going to add a little more onion in here. And all you do is you layer your onion and the peppers or whatever you're going to be using. The spices can just go into the bottom. Okay, that's good. I'll save those for my egg salad. All right, and so all I'm doing right now is once my brine gets heated up, I'm gonna pour this in. I'm gonna leave like a 1-inch head space on the jars, and then I'm gonna process it. So we'll get on to the next step. I'm gonna use metal lids today, just because it's quick and convenient, and I don't have to heat up the tattlers. All right. And I'm going to pour my brine in. Like I said, 1-inch headspace. You know, I could have probably smushed the eggs in there more, but that's okay. At this point, you could put the jars in the refrigerator after they cool down a bit. But like I mentioned, just let them sit for 2 weeks before you start digging in. All right, make sure I don't have those on there too tight. All right, but I am going to water bath can them. So I'm going to stick them in my canner right now. I'm going to bring it up to a boil like you normally would when you're water bath canning. I'll set my timer for 15 minutes and then I'll take them out. I've been cleaning up the kitchen while my jars are still heating up in the water bath. They haven't even started coming to a boil yet, but I also had time to look up and find, does anybody have any good ideas as far as peeling eggs so that I'm not ripping them to shreds? And I do know that new eggs are just about impossible to hard cook and peel intact. But this person that I saw, he said a chef's tip. And it said when you're peeling your eggs, besides cooling them down in cold water and everything, when you're peeling your eggs, do it in the bowl of water. And they'll peel a lot better and you'll have less waste. Besides, you're rinsing them off at the same time. So I just wanted to share that tip, and I'm going to try it next time and see if it works. Ooh, looks good, huh? I just thought of something. This is probably the smallest batch of anything I've ever done in my entire life. Hey, there's a first for everything, right? Okay, I'm just gonna let my jars sit here, cool down, and seal like they normally would when you're water bathing something. And then I'm gonna put them down in the pantry. And like I said, I'll put a little label on them and date them today so I know that in 2 weeks I can dig in. The longer that you let them sit, the better the flavor is gonna get in there. So if you have patience and control, it's great. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up and share. Hit that notification bell. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below because I'd really like to hear from you. So until next time, you have a wonderful day. God bless.